Hello, Blake Braiding here from Trinity Whip Company, and I'm going to make a video on here about I guess what you call it is the way, or my method, the Trinity Whip Co method of how to freehand fancy plait braiding. And so what I'm going to do here in a minute is show you what I got, and then we're going to make a series of stair steps. I find that's the best way to kind of get an idea for it. But I kind of have my own method of doing things, and you know, most people, unless they learn from the, learn in person with someone, which, even, I've got to visit people, for, but usually you're just stuck with stuff you see online, or you get a book and it shows you, I call it plaiting tablature, so like, or, braiding tablature, because it's like, it'll give you a list, like if you want this pattern, it's under one over one, under one over one, and then under one over, whatever it is. Like they have little sequences. So if you guys are whip makers, you know what I'm talking about. You have the sequences that teach you how to braid. If, they have them in Ron Edwards' How to Make Whips books, I believe, or whatever, things like that. So generally the way it is, I'll just kind of show it like this. Generally what they have is, Mike Icon has a great program too, but generally you have something that looks like this, and it's usually like a bunch of boxes, and then you can just color them in, just like you use graph paper, and then have something here, like say this is a diamond. Well, say this black is the over and the white is the under, over, under, over, under, over, under. Well, this is an under, like what it is, it's talking about grabbing this strand and pulling it through this way. So there's 6 strands sticking out on a whip. Well, on this one, it's a 12 plait. So whatever this back strand is about to come forward on that one. So it says under one, over one. So the white will be the under. Under one, black, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one. That gets you a diamond pattern. So now this is how the world normally gets it from, how we always see this stuff. So the thing is, you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about here, but they're reading it like this, and what it is it's teaching you the sequence from the back to the front, because I would pull a strand from the back, and then this sequence is about to be braided and thrown up here. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll show you in a minute. And so, as this gets dropped here, the thing is, you're learning the sequence coming from the back. That's the way I understand the world with this, right? So, whatever you're learning, any type of, I call this, whip braiding tab or platters tab or whatever. It's, like guitar tablature, it's like it shows you the notes and how to do it. And so with this, I can have my own method of doing it. When you get more experience doing certain things, you kind of know how to do certain patterns. Now a pattern is like a diamond pattern is a pattern. If you just did bracelets down a handle, I guess it's diamond. But if you just, if you did stair steps, you know what those are, that's a pattern. If you did bird's eye, that's a pattern. What makes it a design is you take different patterns and you try to organize them beautifully on a handle, and maybe have it to where, like, it may start off with this and then it comes to a centerpiece, but then whatever this is mirrors that, and so it creates a design, like a nice design. Or maybe it's just all unique designs, but how you mix your patterns up is what creates a design. So you learn different patterns from these books. They don't really teach you designs are putting them together. But with that said, you normally, when you have programs or you graph paper it, you learn to mark in your boxes in this tablature, and then you can look how you're braiding. Now, the way they normally do it, I had a, to me, I didn't understand it, or not that I didn't understand it, but I had a hard time doing certain things with it, and I'm going to explain why that is. But first of all, we're going to come in just a little bit closer. Steve's arm's going to get tired of what we're doing, so we're going to pause this here and there, and if we do pause, believe me, we're going to pick right up wherever we pause that. But come on over here, you can lower the camera a little bit. Now, this is, I got a two-tone going on this right now, but this is, so I have 6 strands going one way and 6 the other, and as you can see, this is the black crossing in this. Now, if I kept with the diamond pattern, I could diamond it up all the way up the handle, but that's not what I'm doing today. Now, just to show you what I'm talking about, I'm going to undo this one. All right, and I'll tell you what, we'll do undo one more just so you can see what I'm talking about, because it's about where I want it anyways. But so I just undid a plait on both of them. We just backed it up. So this, if you can see over here, no matter what, like this, we have one of them's over the top. Whatever the top strand is whatever the last thing I did. But if this is an under, which you'll learn later, well, it may not be the top strand, you'll see. But this I know is the last strand plaited. So if you look at this diamond pattern to continue it, I'm going to push this one down, pull this one up, you just skip it down, up, down, up. And now what that does is creates a diamond pattern. So I reach back, grab this strand right here, hook it in, and then, like I'm going to pull it through and lock it into place. We're just going to straighten up a little bit just so you can see it. All right, let's see. But you see, that's how I create another diamond. Now this is the top one. So what I got to do over here is, same thing. I'm going to push this one down, this one up, this one down, this one up, this one down, this one up. And you just kind of, whoops, skip through them. And see, then you'd be ready for, whoops, the next pull through. I'm just going to slide in real quick. So with this, that's how you'd continue a diamond plait. Now, if you were reading tablature, it wouldn't say over one, under one, which is what this hand's seeking, like, because I got to go down, under. So it wouldn't be over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one. Because what I'm doing is I'm going from the front back. What their tablature would be saying is start from back here and go under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one. Then I can reach through here and plait. Now that's what, stay there, going back up. That's what that would be for diamond plait. The under one, over one, under one, over one, under one, over one. They would, so I'm going to let go of that again. Let's look at it again. We got all 6 black strands here, and I want to continue the diamond. I went ahead and let that purple disappear that I just put up there. So no matter what, like I said, if you read the tablature, it starts with an under one from the back. So now I got to look for my back strand, which that's something right there. Like, where's my back strand? Oh, that's not hard. Oh, there it is. So, oh, no, it's not. So you got to go under one, push this through and catch it over one. Whoops, find the next one. Under one. I don't do it this method, so it's awkward. Over one, under one, over one. And now that these are all in place and I have my unders separated and my overs, I put my hand between the difference so I can grab that strand, pull it through, and then, you know, just pull it tight in. Now that's how, with their tablature, it would be. All right, back up a little bit on the camera. I'm going to undo that strand real quick. Look at me. We're going to get it on me. All right, ready? So that's the way they normally do it. I don't know if you can see this, but like I said, they give you a tablature, and to do it, they have it like you read, left to right. And then so to do left to right, though, you've got to pull down on the back side. To me, this was frustrating and awkward because the way I braid, if you come back over now, look at this, they teach you how to read this writing and go back front. But the thing is, when I weave my hand, and if I'm doing normal patterns, I assume like most people, if they know what a diamond is, they would just do it forward back. That way their hand seeks, finds, pulls, and it's a lot less time than starting from the back to the front, only to reach the hand through. Because when I do it that way, like I said, I just have my hands weave through. Like I said, this pushes while this tucks. My hand's already through, so I'm ready to grab and pull it. You know what I mean? So if we were to do it their way, well, you've got to reach back here and find it first of all, because you got to make sure you got the last one. So I got to go under that one, but then I got to push this one in and tuck this one out. And I mean, the thing is, my hand right here, which is the one that separates it, is the reacher. But now my hand is going backwards to slide in and go forward. And unless I'm wrong, I'll back that up a little. Don't look at me in the camera real quick and back up. Unless I'm wrong, that's how I saw the world doing all this. I mean, if you're looking at the tablature, and I mean, if you're doing the tablature, as I call it that, if there's a name for it, somebody fix me on that comment. But as you're doing that, if you're really trying to read it and do it, reading left to right, you have to do it from the back. But to me, is this hand that has to seek through and pull the strand, which is all its job anyways, root through those strands and pull, is actually rooting through them oddly backwards and then finding its tunnel. I'm like, why don't you just find the tunnel in the first place? So to me, I thought, you know, I thought everyone was doing what I was doing. So my problem was I couldn't read it that way. So what I did is, seeing it read left to right, well, what I did, knowing where I was at in the line, well, I would read it right to left. So I would read over one, under one, and then I would, if you come down here, I would just read the script backwards. Oops, right there. And so with my, you know, so this is how I did the generic tablature for it with this. See, it'd normally be under one, over one, but if you read it backwards, it's over one. So I read that and be like, over one, under one, over one, under one. So this hand is constantly doing the weaving. I don't have to look for a back strand. I've already started with the front and I know how to weave, and then I can reach around and pull it. And so that, back up a little bit. That is how I just naturally did things for a long time. If I ever did use it, and I really just needed like really fancy handle plaits, because most of these basic patterns, you're doing herringbone, this, you know what you're doing with bird's eye and other basic patterns, stair steps. You don't need to look, if you're just doing a pattern, not a design, you don't really need to look at any tablature. You can just kind of do it. And hopefully you can kind of freehand it unless you get really complicated with other stuff where you might need a tab. But with this, like I said, the way I solved it, because, you know, to me, I'm like, why am I doing two things with the hand? It also felt odd to kind of go in the back, just to go back front and back. And I'm like, so to me, this hand is differently charged. It's just swimming through the strands. It swims through the strands, grab and pulls. Swims through the strands, grab pulls. Because, you know, if you guys did herringbone is called under 3, over 3. But your hand, if you come over here, if I had to do herringbone real quick, you know, even though the tablature would call it under 3, over 3, and pull, I would just go over 3, under 3, pull. And then side would switch. Same thing. It's easier just to tuck in the middle, go and pull, than it is to kind of like pull it out, push it in, bring it through. Why don't you just go shh, and everything cuts through fast? All right, back up a little bit, sorry. So I guarantee any whip maker that hits herringbone doesn't go backwards forward when they do it. At least I know I didn't. I never looked at it backwards when I was doing the basic patterns. I was like, well, I'm doing it forward, back, and swimming. So I helped a friend, a couple guys out with how to freehand the way I do it. Now, I'm not saying this method I'm going to share with you in a second is my own method only, and no one else has done it like this. I've been taught how to freehand, or I saw Joe freehand on a stock whip handle, and I like doing stock whip handles on a keeper just like he did because, well, I can freehand that because you can spin it around and keep braiding. You can see the whole thing around. Sometimes you got something on a hook, or if you guys use vices, you can't spin around. Now, if you got a hook, I can get a little twist, but, sometimes when you're doing that handle, it's hard to want to get up under there and look at it. So, when you want to do spot checks here and there, but we're going to talk about how to freehand now, stair steps, to teach you the way I kind of do it and the way I look at it a little bit differently. And I found out trying to teach this to other people, teaching a stair step pattern is the easiest way to explain how to kind of look at it, not backwards forward, but kind of unorthodox, forward back. And then with this, the stair steps just happens to be the best mathematical one to kind of teach it to you and learn how to bring forward and back. And so we're really going to be doing diamond into stair steps, bunch of stair steps into diamond. I don't know if I'll get the whole thing. I'll try to do it quick, but we're going to get Steve's on my rest. See you in a second.
All right, good.
Go ahead and stop. All right, so we took a break. We're starting over, and now we're doing a 12 flat version. Now, I'm so used to doing a 16 flat version. It's a little different in the 16 than a 12 for the type of handle braid I'm going for. So now it won't really matter what we're doing here. The math will work as far as it's working. Normally I would do a different type of pattern than I'm about to do, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a series of stair steps right now. That would be normal. I'm going to go ahead and do a series of 3s and then 7s and then 3s. Now normally for the pattern I was working on will be 4s, 7s, and 4s, but I'm going to go ahead and braid it up and do it this way for you guys, and we'll go from there. So we're here. All right, now I've got about an inch, where's that? There's my tip or so, go tiny minute, but this is about the inch where a heel knot would be, and so here's some diamond on the handle. Looks like the transition's around here. I need to back up a little and probably start everything right about here, but what we're going to do is we'll back up a little bit. Now, everything's a little loose in here on this one. I had it tight a second ago, but I want to loosen up. So just pulling everything a little bit. Long story. That's about where we're going to go. We were talking about diamond plait. We were talking about, just to illustrate, we're going to talk about things because when we braid, I have one hand holding the core, and if this is the top one right here, all right, I need this one to be on top. Well, if this is, I know my lead strand. In a minute, it may not matter which is the over. It only matters in diamond. But I'm going to reach through here and pull. So everything I'm going to read off will be what the pattern is going front to back, and it'll be for the seeking hand. So if it's over here, whatever I say would go front to back like this and seek through and grab and pull through. All right, now, if you do it in certain sequences that are odd numbers every plait, like we're going to go 3, 3, 7, 7, 3, 3. If you do it like that, every time you start a new stair step, it's going to be an over 1, and you'll know what I'm talking about once we get our first started. It doesn't make sense until I do my first under 2 and I get past it, but we're going to start, the journey of 1,000 plaits when it comes to stair steps that are odd numbers is, it starts with 1 over. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're on this side, and this is about where I want it to be. I'm going to run it through twice real quick, just to get a little tighter, and I want to start in the next section up. Doesn't matter, I think, which side I start on right now, so I'm just going to make sure that gets a little tighter. Just going to kind of snug everything up. Can't really braid this too tight until we get farther down, so I'm just going to get everything on the base a little stronger. Now we've done diamond all the way to this point, and we're about to start our stair steps. Now technically, I already did my first 1 over on our stair steps, but nothing's changed for diamond. Now on my method, I forgot I talked about this a minute ago. The method we're going to talk about is my hand, everything I call off will be front to back. Like what my hand seeks through is front to back. But the way I see braiding is a little bit different, okay? I see whatever I'm talking about will be, even though I'm talking front to back with a seeking hand, the way I look at my braiding is going this way. So whatever you're braiding up here, if I wanted to pull my next strand, or I wanted, to tighten, you got to realize it's going to tighten back here. So not until I've braided up to here will it really tighten back here. So I've got to braid a bit to tighten that up, all right? So that's one thing I want you to see. But as braiding goes, since we're starting a stair step or whatever new pattern, you got to realize this strand is the front as it starts new patterns, and this one is the back. This back side is going to follow it up because this is in front and this is in back. So as we're braiding, and I'm going to talk about to freehand it just by knowing what's coming next, and then you'll know, well, it's kind of like I see that as a fish going upstream. Like my mind is being a fish upstream. So what we're going to talk about is if I know what I'm going into, I can start creating that because I'm not reading backwards, I'm going forward back. And if I know where I've been, as long as I know what I'm doing here, I know where to follow up. And here's what I mean. This is actually the second plat into a first stair step because that over one is one of them. We're going to go under two, over one, under one, over one, under one. Now that starts us off because right now if I did over one here, under one, over one, we'd be braiding into diamond. Now, no matter what I start, you got to realize we're into diamond. So I got to make sure that looks clean. So I got to, no matter what I start here, the rest of this has to finish up in diamond. So this looks good on the backside. So we're going to start our first plat on the stair step series to teach you freehand. And it's talking about, I know I'm going to do forward. Now I'm going to have a series of three stair steps, which I'll show that to you in a minute, but it's a series of 3 lines going one way, and then it'll be 3 lines of one color going the other way, and then it'll be 7 lines and 7 lines for the pattern we're going. So I'm right here. I'm going to do an under 2. See as my hand goes to it, over 1, because we're now in diamond, under 1, over 1, under 1. Grab back and pull a little bit. Now with this, like I said, I can't really pull too much tighter until we get later. Now we're going on our other side. Now with this other side, we just did an under 2. Now what this stair steps will do with increments that are not numbers is it's going to skip a stone all the way up. All right, so check this out. This was actually an over 1, and it's also going to switch from over to under. So I know what I'm doing stair steps like this, just by mathematically knowing to add 1 till I get to my number. Our magic number is 3. So we just did an over 1 over here. We just did an under 2. So now that we did an under 2 on this side, we're going to do an over 3. Now we're still on that first stair step, but where did we come from? Diamond. So I got to go finish. Now we just did an over. What comes after an over and under? Then an over. And I got a strand left, so we just diamond it out till the end. I don't need to really count strands as long as I know that I'm lifting and going over and under and hitting every one of these right. So now what we did is we had our first over 3. Now with this over 3 right here, as you can see now, over 3, 1, 2, 3 strands. Now the stair steps I'm doing is going to be a series of 3 stripes. So I just did my first over 3. So this works great. The journey of 1,000 plats begins with an over 1. So now that we did our first over 3, I have to make this now my first over 1. That way the black can cross it. So here's what we do now. We went over, see if you remember, over 1, under 2, over 3. Now we go over 1. Ready? Now this, we're finishing up stair steps. So now I started a new stair step because in a minute you'll see this will be a black strand like that. So it starts crossing with it. So that over 1 starts my new black. But I just came, let's know where we came from. I'm finishing up an under or over 3 stair step. Well, since this was an over, I need to go under 3. And now what's left? We got 2 strands, over 1, under 1. Now you'll see as it comes together. Now I'm just going to keep this mathematical equation of knowing what's coming forward and then just understanding what I'm leaving with math, and then we're going to move on. So now I just did an over 1 over here. We're ready to skip stones. So I do an under 2 from 1, next one's 2. Now we're going to do an under 2, but once again, we're doing a new stair step. We got to finish this. So we can't do diamond yet. What was our number? We're doing a 3-step. So now we go over 3. So I go under 2, over 3, and that leaves an under 1. So I'm just going to pull it from the back. I'm going to try to leave my hands out right now and so you can see better. I'm just going to slide it in place a little bit. That's all right. So with this right here, we're going to keep counting, and I can talk more about it. So we just did an under 2 on this side. So we're going to now do an over 3. Now once again, we're doing a series of 3 for our 2 sets of 3. So this will be our first 3. But the thing is, we now got to our number 3. 1, 2, 3 is coming. So I need an over 3. But I'm coming off of another 3 count of stairs. So now it's just over 3, under 3. All right. And now if you can start seeing this, you'll start seeing the magical pattern, even though I'm going to go up to some high numbers in a minute. All right. Now, this is not the way I normally do this pattern. This is a very common pattern, but I usually do 4 and 7. The problem with 4 and 7 is it's going to break you up to starting with an under instead of a nice little formula like an over. So this will kind of teach you what I'm doing because it helps you see what you're going into and what you're coming from. So I just did my first over 3 on this side, my first over 3 on the next stair step. So here's 3s, here's 3s. As you can see, there's an over 3. So the beginning of the next stair step, if we're all doing odd number stair steps, is I'm going to do an over now to start it. So did it shut off or it's good? All right, so now I'm gonna go for now, once again, start a new stair step, go in the opposite direction. We're gonna do a set of 7. It starts with an over 1. So our new one in a minute, as you'll see, we'll have this be an over 1. So it creates this cross stitch. So I know I need to go over 1 now, but we're coming off a 3 plat stair step. So an over 1, the next one has to be an under magic number 3. And then I got to go to the next magic number. Now, it would be an over 3 because I have 2 3-step stair steps, but the problem is there's only 2 strands left. So it's an over 1, under 3, that's 4. I only got 2 left, so all I got to do is tuck in those bottom 2, reach back and grab the last one, pull it in. All right, now I'm just going to kind of slide them into place a little bit better right now. So, once again, I just got to keep skipping that pebble up, across the river. We just got our first over 1 over here. So we keep counting up. We're on a new stair step. Well, now our new number is 7. So if we had an over here and a 1, well, now we go an under over here and a 2. So under 2, once again, we're finishing up 2 sets of 3. So there's over 3 and then an under 1. And now because that's an under 1, and I know that was supposed to be on our first stair step, I now know that I am done with my first stair step. That pull finished up this part right back here. So we just did an under 2 on this side, like over 1, under 2. So now we count up. We're going to do a 3. And since this was an under, this will be an over 3. And once again, I know I'm coming from a 3 stair step. So if it was an over 3 and now I got to switch to another variable 3, it's under 3. But like I said, these can work really easy if you understand the math, because you just keep skipping up a number to hit your new set till you hit your magic number, and then you just finish out the numbers you're at. And normally, you can whip this up pretty fast. If you get this number trick, it's pretty easy. It'll take you a while to get used to it, but it's not bad. So now I did my first, what am I at? I just did an over 3. Well, our magic number is 7. Now, if I wanted to keep with a series of 3, well, it's time to drop this, but we got to keep going. So now I got an over 3. I'm going to go fast now and just braid. So if I did over 3, now I got to do an under on this side, and since I did a 3, we're going to 7 right there. It'll be 4. So under 4. Now there's 2 left, right? So I'm just going to tuck those under, and I'm going to pull these in real quick, all right? Tuck those under. So that's an under 4. Now what comes after 4? It'll be 5. And now we just did an under, so now we got to do an over. We're going to find all 5 of these, right? There's 6 strands. I know you can see this. Over 5, under 1. Grab that last one. We lay it across. This is where the patterns and sometimes get a little frustrating, and you'll learn it. So I did my first over 5. So now what comes after 5? Because, we're going for 7. 6. But we did an over 5. Now we got to do an under 6. Now here's where we're going to get into why I call at this point the double 6s. All right, so I just did my first under 6. Now remember our magic number 7. Well, we only have 6 strands we can go over under on one side. And we only have 6 strands on this plat, because it's not a 16, that we can go over and under on this side. So we did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The over 5, but now, so it was over 5 a second ago, but now we brought this one around, did an under 6. So we got to get our magic number of 7. So now we need an over 7. The problem is you can't do an over 7. You can only do an over 6. But the thing is, this one that you don't see one step back is this one right here, where's that, is already got an over on the black. So when I reach back here and grab this purple and bring it into place for my under 6, my over 6, it is actually an over 7, and now I just hit my magic number of 7. We're stopping at 7, and since we're doing odd numbers and stair steps and not breaking from that, we're ready to go to our next set of 7, so it begins with an over 1. So we've got nothing but unders, because we're starting with an over 1, and we're into the under 7 or over 7. We're in the 7 stair step, so now it's easy. Over 1, under 6. Over 1, under 5. So we got our first under 1, and now this is where you can see the math go backwards. We got our first over 1, we got our first under 1. Now if you need to, you want to tighten some things up a little bit, kind of shift them around. All I got to say is the angle you're pulling is not where they're laying. You're going to try to lay, with this stuff, you've got a serious amount of strands that kind of free float to an extent, and it's okay right here because this isn't on the tranny, and you'll end in diamonds to tighten it up, but you just got to place them. So I just did my first over 1. Under 5 because there's 6 strands. Now it would be an under 7, but we don't have 7 more. So now we just keep adding. Now we're going to another set of 7. We did 7 this way, 7. So we just did our over 1. What comes next? Over on this side, so it's under here. It was a 1, it's a 2. Under 2, and then we're going to over everything left because we're still on 7s and we don't have 7 strands. So you just easily grab an over 4. Whoop. And slide into place a little bit. I might just work it out. So now we did 2, and we did an under 2 on this side. Make sure I get it back in my hand a little bit. And this is the only one where I can't really hang on to this all the time, but I kind of do, but I'm also kind of showing it. Ready? So we did an under 2, so we got to do an over, and it's a 3. Over 3, it's just a herringbone at that point anyways, that one. Over 3, under 3, or as you're used to, under 3, over 3. So we just did a 3 and an over. Well, now we got to do an under, and we go one more, 4, because we're trying to build up to 7. Now, now if I went under 4, I went over 2. But it doesn't really matter the plat count. All I know is I need to know where I'm going, and the rest I don't even have to really count at this point. I just know that the rest is automatically an over and under. Because we just did our number, what did we do, an under 4? Yeah. Looks like we just did an under 4. Or did we do an over 4? Well, which one was it? Oh, or I'll say we did an under 4. I'll pick it up if I mess it up. So we just did an under 4, over 2. Well, now we did 4. We're still getting a 7. Got to go 5. So now it becomes an over 5, under 1. We're still building up to 7. All right. So what comes after 5? We just did an over 5 and an under 1. We had to keep going until we get to 7. 5 is 6. So we just did an over 5. This side's an under, and now an under 6. And when you get down looking at that one, and where that one will actually be placed in a minute, you'll see that that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cross stitches. But we'll worry about that later. So now we just did our first 6. And now, like I said, we're dealing with odd numbers. We're going into a 7 stair step. There's only 6 strands, so that number outranks or has more numbers than in our strands. So to keep the 7 and then reverse it back, we just did our first 6. So once you get to that conundrum of I only got 6 strands, but now I went from 5 to 6, I got to go to 7. Well, that 7 just becomes a double 6. We just did an over 6. So I got to reach under here and grab an under 6. Now, that was an under 6, but it was already under a first one back, so it's really an under 7. And now we get to start our new plat, right? So the journey of it, ooh, maybe I did pick that up on the wrong side. Did I double 6 it on the wrong sides? Maybe I did, because this has got to be an over here. Maybe I did. Here, I'll back this up. Nah, that's all right. Well, whatever. I think I might have just messed up my math. But that's all right. I know where I'm at on this. We just did an under 6, right? No, wait, where is it? I'll back it up. Don't worry about it. Which one did I just pull through, Steve? Did I do an under 6 over 6? We'll just back up the last 2 and I'll look at it. Well, I'm caught, but the thing is I know my numbers. So I back it up. And I know the last one had to been, I'd remove 2, it had to be the 5s because I was in double 6s. So over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it's under, that's where I messed up. Under 6 here. All right, and then it's over 6 here. That's where I messed it up. So now I get the over 6. So that just completed an over 7. That's where I messed up. So once again, I know where I'm going, and I know we got to do the count number. I got a little above my count. Realized I messed up, didn't know where my plat was. All I did was back up until I could see the number 5 or 4 or 3 or 2, and I automatically knew what was next. All right. So if you understand how that math works, it's great. So I just did my first over 7, and now I got to, and that means, even though it was my double 6, it's my first over 7, I got to start my next. And I did a 3, a 3, a 7. This just finished my first 7 lap. I'm starting my first next 3. So it's an over 1. And now I'm still finishing up 7. So after that over 1, it's an under 7. Now I might just start braiding up and talking about it. If you need to, you can slide them in a little bit, but they'll tighten up on their own. So over 1, under 5. Well, now we did an over 1 here. We need to do an under here, and that was a 1. So it's 2, under 2. And like I said, we just need to go over the 4. And oh, there it is. Over 4. Try to, and when you lay them in, you try to put them in there in your hands right and kind of lay them in the exact place where they're all laying right. And something went wrong right there. Let me see it again. All right. Oh, there it is. Under 2. All right, there we are. Over 4. And I think, if I remember right, yep, that's why it is. That's the one that's still on the under face. I'm going to have to bring that down. I know it looks like all clown shoe loose, but that's one reason why you have a diamond to begin and end. It'll tighten it up no matter what, but just keep trying to braid at the right angle or place everything in the right spot. Like I said, I'm going to bring this all a little more forward. This stuff's going to go around more, but I'm still kind of making sure it's... This is where it always gets hassle for people. They see a big old flop of cloth right there. So we did 2 over here, under 2. So now we go over 3. And I know I'm still doing with a big old number. Make sure it's the right one, yeah. I'm still dealing with that big old number. I'm 7, so all I need to know is where I'm going, and it'll just be an under until now. Here's where we get a little change up. All right, so I just did an over 3. Now we did 3, 3, 7, 7. I'm going to finish up at 2 3s and hit diamond. So now I got this first over 3. Well, that's going to end our new set. So now I know I just did my first 3s. So now I got to do an over 1. So now, once again, I know I'm finishing up my 3s, so I got to do an under 3. And knowing that this is an over 7, I can just drop the rest, which is only 2. All right. All right, let's bring it around. All right, now this is where it's going to get good, and it's going to about finish this up. All right, so once again, know where you're going. You got to know where you're coming from. So I just did an over 1. Well, now it goes from 1 to 2. Well, now I got to go over here. It's under here. So I go under 2. But once again, I still got my 3s, my over 3s here. So I got to go over 3, under 1. All right. And like I said, normally when you're doing this stuff, you can kind of hold it in. Now I pull that through. Let's get it in there nice and firm. There it is. So we did our under. Was that the under 3? Yeah, it was. Oh, that was our under 2. We did an over 1. Under 2, and once again, this is our final 3. We're hitting our last, we're hitting the first strand that finally completes our stair step pattern. And whoops! Oh, I see a problem right there. Look at that. That's where I switched it up. Ah ha 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 ha. That's funny. I'll tell you what. I won't say anything. I'm gonna braid it back up, and I'll get you there. One of these strands is not like the other. There it is. It's where I got into trouble. Have fun rewinding this video, people. That's where they got switched. All right, hold on. So you see when they had that big old flap there it is. One of these kind of got switched a little, but they're good now, I think. There it is. And now, once again, you got lost. If you're dealing with, your tablature and you're like, oh no, I just did this pattern and I'm lost, you would be really beside yourself until you could finally recognize a piece of territory that kind of looked right. But I know I'm in my 7s, and I know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all right? And since that's the over, I know that was the start of this one coming over, and it was around there, so over. So now I need to do under 6. I'm going to do over 6 real quick. Now I'm going to make sure, because that's the one where I look like they're having problems where I switched them. I'm just going to double look at that one more time, make sure they stay in their spot. All right. So, wait, was that my first over 6? Double. I just doubled it up. Now it's right, 6. So, over 6, under 6. That's right. And then we're going to go on it, right?
No, you went under 6 first, and then you went over 6.
You can tell, because otherwise I wouldn't, because to start the new pattern, I got to start with an over 1. So under 2, I'll just braid it up. Let's get through it. We'll get right back to where we were at those 3s real quick, because we're already in the 3s. But if you just know the math, then that's gonna have to slide into place as soon as it gets pulled. But it ain't ready for you yet. Like I said, looks a little loose back there, and that's because that strand's still floating in here and hasn't been pulled through yet. You're dealing with this open area stuff, and how this stuff lays in, and it's kind of just like free hanging. You can't really tighten any of this up till you get up here and weighs a diamond. All right, so under 2, over 3, under 1. There we go. I might have to move my hand around on that one. Why is that getting out of place? There we go. We'll just slide it all forward a little. And you want, you can sometimes rub them in. Just kind of put them in the right place. There we go. Now, I'm normally kind of, when I'm pulling, looking where it is in here and trying to angle it, but I'm not worried too much about that right now. All right, so we did under 2. All right, so we're now on our over 3. Over 3, under 3. Now, this is where I was a second ago, I believe. This is where I said we just completed our first over 3. So there's 3s, 3s, 7s, 7s. All right, 3s, and then our last 3. And I just did my first over 3 on where I'm coming forward. So this is going to be the end of our stair steps for this handle. So now that I finished it, I'm going to start diamond over here. So I got to go over 1. And now, once again, I've got my 3 still, under 3, and I'm still finished 3. There's over 2. It's an over 3, but you only got so many strands. So now this starts the second part of this kind of mirrored handle tutorial. Over 1, under 3, over 3. But now, instead of coming from diamonds, I'm going into diamonds. So I just finished my first strand 2 plats ago of my over 3, so this is now diamond territory. So to keep it going, diamond, I did an over 1. So while you're doing diamond next, over 1, under 1. But now I've got over 3 because that'll finish up this black strand, you know, under 1 there. Because now what that'll do, which you'll just see in just a second, that, I didn't get those crossed up, did I? If I did, that's hilarious. No, I did not. Oh, well. Just ain't my day if I did. But we're good. So over 1, under 1, over, that's, you know, over 3, under 1. Because now I'm in the diamond, but I got to remember where I'm coming from. So once again, we're in a diamond again. We're still going to diamond. So what's the next diamond? Well, I did a 1 diamond here. I did an over 1, under 1 on the next pattern. So now I got to do diamond in 3. Over 1, under 1, over 1, third plat of diamond. But now I've got an under 3 because I'm finishing up my 3-step stair step. And now with this under 3 stair step, as you shall see, that under 3 completed 1 of my over 3 or under 3s. So now we're on number 4, and we're doing our 4th plat into diamond. So over 1, under 1, over 1. So I know I'm on my 4th. But now where have I been? Well, I got 2 strands left, and I'm still doing a stair step of 3. So if I did over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1, it's over 2. So now I know I'm on my 4th set of diamond. I just finished it up. So now I'm going to go to my 5th. So I'm going to count to 5 on the diamond. Over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1, over 1. Now technically, this is finishing up my stair step of an over 3, or an under 3, or over 3, or whatever we got for me. Make sure, oh wait, make sure that's 4. So over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1, that's right. Over 1. Like right there is my diamond, and then this under is technically the last one on this back here. But it's actually just full diamond now because diamond ends in the, you know, over 1, under 1, or understood. So we just actually completed everything. You just don't know it yet. Because see, watch. So now we're on number 6. So this is all diamond now. Over, because it's a 6 on the diamond. Over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1, over 1, under 1. And now you grab that back one and pull through. And now with this, you're going to find out we're in nothing but diamond now. Over 1, under 1. Over 1, under 1, and your hand just seeks through and pulls through. Now, I didn't use a tab on this. I just, like I said, I was just trying to, it might have been a little off, so I got to redo it. But you could also see, because my method, I didn't really pay too much attention to how well I was braiding it. But it's in pretty close. And once I pull through and braid more, this will tighten this up too. So this still isn't that tight. This is tightened up. That's looking pretty good. I can maybe move my hand around and slide them better, but some of that looks really slick. All right. But once again, here's about where I need to go into herringbone. I'm just going to go into diamond. And one more diamond. I'm going to tie this off for today. Normally I'd keep going, but that's going to conclude our broadcasting video in a second. All right, so stay there. Don't let off. Do not touch that dial, Stephen. Focus up to me. All right. So that's very similar to the Zorro handle braid that I have made, you know, and I've actually made some 4-stage cross 4, but that's the Zorro handle braid almost. It's not the same. They use a 4-4-7-7-4-4. If you're doing a 16 plat, it's 5-5-9-9-5-5. It's the same basic pattern, but the stair steps teach my method beautifully, especially if you do 3-7-3-7. With the 3-7-3-7, every time you start a new cross stitch of stair steps, it always begins with an over 1. So it really helps you see the counting method. If I did 4-4-7-7, the evens throw it off. So instead of it always being over 1 to start it, it's actually an under 1 that starts it until you get to 9s, and then it's over. And you need me to move out of the way a little bit?
Yeah, that's really bad.
All right, no problem, cameraman. You can talk. We got no fourth wall. It's all right. So all this stuff in here will get tighter once I actually get to go into herringbone. And when I'm pulling tight here, it'll be tightened, you know, around in here. It should be tightening this up. And when I'm down here, it'll be tightening this up. And so when I'm around here, it'll be tightening this up. And that's where, if I want to, I'd be easing my braid a little bit, okay? But once again, this is, you know, this is a little bit different. I go and look up on the scan. Like I said, it's a little bit different. You know, it's the same thing as you guys, sorry about this crude model. But, you know, you usually get the patterns like this. And this is how they teach you to read them, left to right. And then it is going, you know, you've got to push your strands in from the back and then reseek your hand. To me, I'm wasting time going backwards and forwards instead of just going forward. So if you want to try my method and you still want to use tablature, well, this is the way I did it for a long time until I just learned a freehand. I would look at the tablature but read it that way. read it that, instead of reading it that way, again, I'm reading it that way. So it'd be reading it that way, reading it that way. I would always be reading it backwards, and then that would be that hand seeking through the strands. That way I'm not looking for the back strand and find it. Now the freehand I showed you, like I said, I just kind of want you to understand, if you ever try this pattern of the 3 3 7 7 3 3, it'll be very easy. You just got to remember, think about the plait you're on, the plait coming up. Just think of that as you're going forward with the whip. I'm coming into a new set, it's an over one. Well, if it's 1 here, it's a 2 here, it's a 3 here. We hit our 3, so now we got to go 1 again, 2, 3. We hit 7, so now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on a 7 next. So, but if you just think about where you're going, and then you can see what's left, you understand what you got to do to complete the pattern. Like, do I just do it? Are we still on a 3? Is that finishing up? So it's a 3 on that and a 1 on that. Oh, after that, we're done. But if you just understand a number pattern, it's kind of like when you times, what is it? You times things by 9 and they flip. Like, I don't know how it works, but it's like, what is it? 1 times 9 is 9, and I don't know, 9 times 10 is 9. I don't know how it goes, but there's somewhere it's like 7 times 6 is 54. But like the numbers switch up or something like that. Like when you times things by 9, the numbers go like that, and I don't know, it's a cool trick. But with these patterns, it kind of does that. As you're going forward, the other one goes back, and you just kind of learn to swim forward and let the other just rode away with it, like a fish swimming and its tail just finishing up what's left, just swimming through the stream. And to me, when you understand this, especially if I'm doing like a stock whip handle or something, I can, like with this too, I don't always do it like this. I don't know if you can look at this, don't come in too much, but I don't always do, that's good. I don't usually do it like this and just put a hole through here and run it through, but it just kind of helped this video for how we did it. But this is another way you could do it on a hook. I had this is secure. Actually, this was something else, like a little keeper, and then I just punched a hole in there and started braiding it. But with this, like I said, you want to braid enough till you get diamond where the heel is. Now that I've got my diamond, my heel will probably end around here. I'm ready to see a pattern, a diamond or two, go into my beautiful pattern, finish up with diamond, and then I'm going to try to put my transition, although my transition's like right around here. Yeah, about there. I'll probably put my knot somewhere around here to try to match up 2 or 3 diamonds there. That's if you're just trying to pretty up your heel. But all that comes with time. But once again, I'm rambling a lot, but this is my method. Maybe others use it, but when you get this down, you can really start the freehand. With this alone, you can stair step your butt off. You can actually add a bracelet in between stair steps, which is the row of diamonds. You can do a lot of these basic patterns. If you can get on bird's eye, you know what you're doing. You can just continue bird's eye, because by looking at this pattern, what's to take the start and what's to take the start. And you also have some mathematical equations you learn by doing it over and over. But looking to see it from the front back, and learn to see it as going forward, not from behind. I don't, like I said, I don't know if anyone else uses this method quite like that. It's just, this is kind of what I ended up working out in my head, because I got tired of reading Zorro tablature. And so I just like this, I'm going to look, after I stalled Joe and freehanded some stock whips, I was just like, there's got to be a better way to do this. I know, right now I'm reading it backwards, but I'm like, I don't want to have to read the tablature. Like, reading the tablature takes too long. I know people could freelance it, so I started, right? This pattern got me to start working at it, looking at it. And then, like I said, I think this is the best thing you can start on with this method, because it really shows the fish and the skipping stone. Well, that's enough for today. It's one long video. I hope this helps out. Like I said, this is just the way I look at it. Once again, recap, try to explain how it's normally looking at what I call whip tablature or whip braiding tablature. You usually read it left to right. You can read it right to left, but if you want to freehand, this is a good one to learn how to do it. And like I said, just be present on the whip and know where you're currently at, and it's easy to figure out what's going to make it. Now, if I take this off and spin around, let's look at this real quick. I might have made a mistake on as far as, so this should look like this all the way around, and it looks like, like I said, I'll fix that when I get that tightened in. I'll put the right angle on that. But if you look at it, we have the pattern seems to be complete. There were no errors in that pattern that time. So that can happen. You can unbraid it. It's good. And like I said, it not looks a little off right there in some of these areas, but none of this is tight. This is tight. This is tight. This is semi-tight. Right, this is loose. So it will look a little gapped out until I get in there and pull the right angle when I'm down here. So keep that in mind. Have a wonderful day. I hope this is helpful. If you do a 16 plait instead, which a lot of you guys do 16 plait, it's the same concept, but instead of double sixes, you'll get double eights, because there's 8. I'm just going to add that real quick. And when you do it, it'd be better to go 5-9 or 5-5, 9-9, 5-5. Don't just add, a 9 on one and then a 4 on this. It can throw you off, but it'll still keep the over starting. So 16 plaiters do the same thing. Just go 5-5, 9-9, 5-5. And when you get to the 9, you'll do double eights, and then you're ready to go over 1 and keep going. double eights over 1 and keep going. If it's helpful, please leave a comment. God bless. Have a good day.